But given everything else that's happening around the world and the warnings that have come from Pompeo, the US Secretary of State, that said that he's taken a leave from Rita Panahy's great article in the Herald Sun today. I mean, you know, the China tyranny. We've actually got to start dealing with the reality that China is not trying to be friendly towards us. We can sell them stuff, but we've got to be careful they don't use our stuff against us.
Well, yes, definitely. I mean, I think whether it's the Uighur Muslims to the lying about the coronavirus to the, you know, running around, faffing around in the South China Sea, China over the last sort of 8 months or so has really revealed itself to be a hostile force in the world. It is run by an authoritarian regime that is quite literally just concerned with world domination, and they have such incredibly advanced technology over there that we should all be extremely worried. And I don't think it's enough just to say, oh, well, trade with China is incredibly strong. Really? You sure they're telling the truth after they lied about the coronavirus? You know, and it is so extraordinary that Western country after Western country has simply stood by and turned a blind eye to the human rights abuses of the Uighur Muslims. Yep. In China. I mean, there's been new footage that came out recently of them all being herded onto trains. I mean, that's eerily familiar. It's absolutely dreadful. It's stuff that's so completely against our Western democratic principles. And I commend Pompeo for standing up and saying that Western countries need to band together and finally say no to China. And the fear, of course, is that China will economically penalise anyone who stands up against them. But if enough countries actually do get together and say, hey, we're not cool with your behaviour, well, it has to have an impact and it has to be done.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Caroline, I've talked about the Project Iron Boomerang on this program some weeks ago, and we'll talk about it again in coming weeks as well. The idea is a railway line that connects two iron smelters, steel works, if you like, one over in the Pilbara, one in the Bowen Basin. You've got coal at one end and iron ore at the other, and the trains move between the two. They're never empty. We can actually manufacture raw steel products here for export. It'll be cheaper and, in fact, environmentally more friendly than sending off, well, a quarter of the dirt, a quarter of the iron ore that goes to China and other places is dirt out of Western Australia, for instance. You know, we've got to start thinking about the way in which we value add in our interest and manufacture in our interest, not just simply rely on digging stuff out of the ground and sending it to somebody else.
Yeah, we do, and I think that the coronavirus has really brought that into focus for Australia. You know, for such a long time we were sending things offshore and importing things. First of all, we were importing low inflation. I mean, that's how we've had economic growth for 30 years, because we've been importing low inflation. But for a lot of businesses, and this is slightly different to the iron ore example, but, you know, for a lot of businesses, the supply disruptions have caused absolute havoc. I know even for me, I import for one of my businesses a lot from Japan. The EMS postal service has been closed down during coronavirus. So what used to cost me or take a week by post from Japan now takes a week by DHL. So the frequency, the cost, all those things, and all that extra time that whatever you need to bring into the country is sitting out there is capital that you can't make money on. So there are plenty of examples in just the recent few months that should be enough for us to, you know, get our butts into gear to say, yeah, we need to manufacture more here. We've seen what happens when those supply chains are disrupted, and we can decrease a lot of those supply costs if we do it properly, and like you always bang on about, Gary, if we have lower energy costs.